Well, the plot thickens. The alleged plot I updated you about last night. The alleged plot by a top Vatican Cardinal, Angelo Becciu, now sacked by the Pope for corruption, to send money to Australia to make sure that his enemy, Cardinal George Pell, was accused of child sexual abuse, which he was. That was allegedly to get Pell out of Rome, because Pell was heading the Vatican's finances and investigating corrupt deals done by Becciu involving hundreds of millions of dollars, deals that are now coming to light. Now, important note, Becciu denies making any such payment to Australia, and Pell's main accuser here says he got no money. But things have moved fast since last night's update. Yesterday, I told you we were talking about $1.1 million allegedly sent here by Becciu. And I said that 3 Australian authorities were now investigating or had been copied into an investigation, including AUSTRAC, which tracks suspicious financial transactions.
Ms Rose, recently I wrote to you regarding the alleged transfer of €700,000 from allegedly from Vatican funds to person or persons in Australia. Can I thank you for kindly acknowledging receipt of the same? In my correspondence, I request that you confirm that the matter is being investigated. Are you able to do that?
Yes, I can confirm AUSTRAC has looked into the matter and we've provided information to the AFP and to Victoria Police.
But that was yesterday. Joining me with the latest is Dennis Shanahan of The Australian, who broke more news today. Dennis, thank you so much for your time. The original allegation was that $1.1 million was sent here. You say it's more.
Indeed, Andrew. As I reported today, there is details emerging within the Vatican. This is part of the Vatican's own investigation into this very wide-ranging scandal. And the details that I've been given are that there is more than $2 million, much more than $2 million that has been transferred to Australia, and that this what came from the Secretariat of State in Vatican, of which where Cardinal Becciu was the number 2, and his right-hand man was also there and is also assisting the Vatican the investigators with their inquiries. So yes, it does appear that more than $2 million just in a little over 14 months was sent to Australia, was sent to Melbourne, and it came in part from Cardinal Becciu.
Now, I don't know even if you know whether you're allowed to, whether you dare to say, but do we know where that money actually went?
Well, the details that have been given to the Vatican investigators show where the money left the Vatican. And these aren't Vatican bank funds. These are the Secretariat funds. Some of them have come from charities. And we've seen charges already laid in relation to money that has been sent out of these charities to other recipients in companies in Slovenia. We do know that the money came to Australia via a company which is named as New Star, which has since changed ownership. But it does appear that that company is purely a transfer. It's a cyber security company that provides secure transfers of funds, and there is no suggestion at this stage that the company involved, which is headquartered in Melbourne, is in any way involved in anything untoward, apart that it's passed on the money. So there is no proof from these details where the money went once it arrived in Australia. And that's the significance of the intervention by AUSTRAC, which then passed information to the Federal Police and to the Victorian Police. And now we have, as revealed in the Australian today, that the information was passed from the Australian Federal Police to the Victorian IBAC, the Independent Broad-Based Commission Against Corruption. So what we actually now have are 4 Australian entities looking at these transfers, and enough evidence to satisfy AUSTRAC that A, it should pass the money, the details of the money transfers on to the Federal Police and the Victorian Police, and enough credence there for the Federal Police to then pass the information on to the anti-corruption body in Victoria, which looks at public service corruption and can look at corruption from any member of the public service, any state, federal politician, members of the judiciary, you name it, they can look at it. So this is the key. What we now have are Australian-based investigations, including investigators that look at corruption, as well as sufficient evidence that AUSTRAC received in relation to those money transfers, which amount to more than an incredible amount of money in a short space of time to go to Australia, and we have them all looking at it. So we don't know. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't prove where the money went, who did it, whether it was actually even used in relation to Cardinal Pell's trial. In fact, I think that if it was used in relation to Cardinal Pell's trial, that's actually a small part of a much larger picture. This is a global picture that's happening at the moment, involving hundreds of millions of dollars of euros being transferred around the world and without transparency. And that's what Cardinal Pell wanted to expose when he was head of finances at the Vatican. And I remember I was in Rome and reported on his first discoveries of millions of euros that the Vatican didn't even know it had. In that case, the Vatican was ripe to have people come in, take money, skim it off, embezzle it, use it for money laundering, whatever. And that's what Cardinal Pell was trying to stop back when he became the finance director of the Vatican.
And that's why, of course, it would have suited some people extremely well to have him taken out of the Vatican and facing false charges in Australia. Now, I've looked at the dates that you've given in your story in The Australian for when some of the transfers coming. I note that one of them occurred 1 month before, or perhaps even less than a month before, a significant real estate deal by a participant in these events, someone I didn't think would have had that kind of cash. Put that to one side. We don't know who got it, and as you inferred or suggested, it could have just been salting money away for Becciu and some other mates of his. We do not know. Now, you mentioned that Victoria's IBAC, its anti-corruption body, is also looking into this. What I found significant, Dennis, is that the ABC, which was key in persecuting George Pell, didn't have a single person to point out the charges against him were inherently implausible, and didn't report these corruption allegations when they first surfaced, now itself has said, hey, listen, it's gone to IBAC. This is so significant, isn't it, that IBAC, which can investigate Victoria Police, now has this file in front of it.
This is the investigation significance of today's story, and the fact that there is sufficient evidence, sufficient information for AUSTRAC and the federal police to pass this on, not to the federal police, not to the international financier controllers, but to the local Victorian state corruption commission, which looks at potential corruption right across the board in the Victorian public service. And that includes, as I said before, MPs, members of the judiciary, members of the police force, all of them can be looked at by IBAC. And this is the significant point. Now, we're suddenly in a position where, as you point out, the ABC, which was very reluctant to even point out that Cardinal Pell had had a unanimous High Court decision quashing and rejecting the charges, which, by the way, meant he spent more than a year in jail, effectively in solitary confinement. But now suddenly, the conspiracy that everyone was talking about now seems to have legs. Maybe we'd better get on the story.
Dennis, there is going to come a time. We do not know. Look, to repeat what you've said, what I've said, we do not know where this money went. We do not know anything. We don't even know if it was spent. But I tell you, if it turns out that the allegations we're hearing are even remotely correct, if it turns out there will be an accounting. There are so many people who fed this witch hunt and some maybe for so-called innocent reasons, some maybe not, there will be an accounting. Dennis Shanahan, I think this story is a long way to run, and I thank you very much for your part in bringing it to light.
Indeed, Andrew, and keep an eye on the paper tomorrow.
I don't doubt it. I will look with huge interest, Dennis. Thank you so much.